I'm doing my ABC lettering with my friends. Can I have a moment? This is Twiggy. She's here to help us with our ABCs today. Are you ready to get started? Start off by sharing with you how I store my supplies. This is for my traditional supplies. I have this plastic tote and I keep it all together. So I have that one project that I can pull it out when I need it. So here's what I have in here. I've already picked it from my color palette. Remember in the beginning, if you watched the beginning, I talked about choosing a color palette, and inside your packet that I provided for you, I gave you some ideas of different ones. I don't remember which one this one is. I think it's the first one on there, but I've got my markers that coordinate. I've got an erasable pen, so I can use it as like a pencil. And then I made sure to have a black marker in there too, because I always love to have touches of black in my project. I've got the cards that I'm working on. This is the box that you'll get. If you stick with me till the very end, you'll get the template for the box. And then here are my papers that I'm working on with my traditional art, like I said. So this one is lined. If you can see, this is lined paper. If you did not get this update, if you go back and download the template, you'll get one with lines on it. So I hope you like that. I'm going to guess that most of you guessed what letter F is. Yeah, you got it. Faith. Absolutely faith. Faith is the reality of what we hope for. It is the evidence of things we cannot see. And this is from Hebrews 11:1. I had a request to make sure to share the scripture reference at the beginning of the video. So hopefully that's helpful for you. So I'll be demonstrating using my iPad today. And if you're using your iPad and you want to use the same brush I'm using, I 99% of the time use the dry ink brush. And so if you go down underneath inking, look for inking, and then scroll down to dry ink. Now let's look at letter F today and think about, there's different ways to write the letter F. So I'm going to give you some examples so you can practice. I'm going to make a new layer. I want to make sure that I'm not writing on my template. And so when you write the letter F, this is my normal go-to, something like that. That's kind of fancy, right? Let me try that again. Let's start with more basic. So basic would be just a print letter F. And now maybe we can do something a little different. What if we did it like that, where we crossed it over the line? And then we could do something like this. And then maybe a curl at the beginning and something like that. And a curl at the beginning and a swirl at the end. Let me do that one again. Now, a little quick tip for an iPad user, if your pen is not, if it's kind of loose and you want it more, do you like the words I'm using today? If you want it more streamlined, we're going to look for that word. I'm going to click on the actual brush I'm using, dry brush, and then you go in and you look under stabilization, and then you look under streamline, and you can adjust this pressure right here, and it can give you a little bit more stability. So I'd give that a whirl if you haven't tried that yet. I especially like using that on the monoline brush. Yeah, I feel like I got just a little bit more help with my stability there. Okay, I'm going to clear this layer and we'll get started. I'm going to write faith, and this one I actually left room underneath instead of on the sides. So I'm going to do faith right in the center. And I'm writing this a little bit larger than I'm writing the rest of the words, because it's like my title. Okay, next we're going to go into writing the scripture from Hebrews 11:1. I'm going to make a new layer and I'm going to make my brush smaller. So at this point, if you are doing this on your traditional paper and ink, what I would do is make sure to write it in pencil first, because you might want to go back and add these underlines or the highlights. And I would do that before I write with a marker on top of it, if that makes sense. Okay, faith. I may skip a line because this one's shorter. is the reality of what we hope for. Semicolon. It is the evidence. I don't have a lot of room for evidence, so I think I'm just going to, take this line and move it over. This is where your erasable pen comes in, or pencil, when you're on paper. There we go. Much better. And on your iPad, I can add a layer, and then that way it's easier to move things around. Okay, evidence. I think evidence is a big word here, so I'm going to actually make it in all caps. Evidence. Evidence. Of things we cannot see. Period. And if that bothers you, you can move that one over as well. I should have made it on a separate line, but I didn't. Don't love either way. I think what I'll do is I'll do this, and then I'll move C back over a little bit. Make it a little bit smaller and over. That's a little better. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to add our scripture reference. Now at the bottom, I like to write it. I like to stretch it out. That's like our third element. So what we do first is write the title. Then we write the scripture. The third thing is change up our font or change up our lettering. And I'm doing stretching it out. Hebrews. Make sure we spell this right. Hebrews. Think of like Hebrews, a cup of coffee, right? Then I usually make it a lot smaller. 1:1:1. And then I'm going to put that in the center right there. Okay. And now we'll go back and we can add some color, and we can add a doodle. Let's add our doodle first. Now, I added a fish here, and you could do the same or anything that you wanted. Looking at this fish right here, it's called an Ichthus. Ichthus. Look right here. We have it written right here. I had to look it up. I did not know how to say it. Ichthus, like Ichthis. Ichthus. It's the Greek word meaning fish, and is also known as the Jesus fish symbol used by Christians. I went to Israel several years ago, and while we were there, I got this little pendant, and you can see the little fish at the bottom. And this is one of the earliest signs of Christianity. And so basically what my pastor was saying is that, you were scared to be a Christian. You were scared to let people know sometimes. And so to give each other a sign, they would take their foot and draw in the dirt the symbol of a fish. That's the way I heard it anyway. And I'll show you where I got my little fish from. I'm going to go ahead and actually color this one today. I'm going to show you first. I'm going to go to my color palette. Make sure I grab the right color palette of what I've been working with. It's right here. So I'm going to grab this one to set as my default. Okay, so there's my color palette. I'm going to grab the blue and look for my stamp, which is actually a stamp set I created for this project called Scripture Doodles. You can get it in the description below. And there it is right here. So I'm going to tap on that and see how big it is. I want to make sure I'm on a new layer. I'm not. There we go. And that's huge, and I don't want it that big. So now I'm going to back up, make it smaller. Still a little bit bigger than I'd like. I think I like that. we'll do that for now. I'm going to go back to Faith and make sure I've got that kind of center. There we go. Now, so the whole card, I want to change the color of the entire card, but you don't want to ruin your template, right? So you need to think about that. And just realize that, just realize when you're doing this, save another copy for another template, or you can always download it again. So I'm going to go to the layer of where the template is. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that I'm on the right layer. And then I'm going to choose this color pink from my color palette. It's kind of a peachy pink. Actually, I don't know which one I used. Let me see. I'm going to drop the color in. It's not that one. I use the corally color. Okay, I drop that in, and there it is. So I've got that colored in. Now, why did it color the whole thing in and not get, sometimes some of the little letters, some of the inside of the letters don't color right, and that means you're on the wrong layer. That means you're coloring in the layer with the words. So I made sure I was under the right layer. See how you see the block? It's just a blank block of 4 squares. That's what I'm looking for. Drop the color in there, and so you'll still have your lettering on top. Okay, next thing I did is I made sure I added a layer, and in between the layer of the block and Faith would be above it. Then I'm going to choose the red color, and I'm just going to make a bubble right behind. Oops, you got to change your brush. I'm just going back to my original brush, dry ink, and I'm going to make it bigger so you can see it better. But I'm just making a bubble around Faith. I hope you're enjoying this series. I really would love for you to make a comment, like, share, give me some love, and show me how much fun you're having with this. That would be amazing. So before you leave today, make sure you just jot a little comment for me. I may even be picking somebody, maybe doing a little giveaway for someone who leaves a comment. Let me go back to the fish. I'm going to turn that down a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to choose some words that I think are, I want to stand out. And first, I feel like my lettering is just too big. I want to make it a little bit smaller. So I'm going to take that's not it, is it? Faith is the reality. Yeah, those are, okay. I'm going to combine them. I had 2 layers on that. And I'm just going to take those and make them just a little bit smaller, like so. Okay, and then now I'm going to make a new layer, and it needs to be underneath the lettering, any of the lettering, all the lettering. And I'm going to choose from my color palette. I've got the orange. I'm going to make a bubble here, or a block, whatever you want to call it. And then reality, I chose the pink. And we've got hope, chose the red. Evidence, I chose the green. And this just adds color to the project. It just makes it more interesting to look at. And then blue, I tied in the blue. I wanted to make sure that the blue up there and the blue down here matches. Now I'm actually looking at that blue, and it's really harsh on the eyes on the computer. And so I think I might change it to this blue, my other blue. I had 2 blues in my color palette. So I'm going to go back to the fish, change it to that color, much better. And now I'm going to use that color to make my block. Okay. And you can highlight whatever words you want to stand out. There's no perfect way to do this. It's just for fun to add color. All right. So what do you think? We've got our scripture. This is for you to memorize, to focus on this week. Put it on your bathroom mirror. Spend some time in the Word and glorify the Lord by doing that. Okay. So that's all we have for today with letter F, and next week is G. Can you guess what that letter is going to stand for? There's a little hint. Tell me in the comments what you think. All right, have a great day. Thanks for participating.